suicide awareness. Honestly, I didn't think I'd be telling this part of my story, but I feel like it wouldn't be my journey if I didn't tell this. So yeah, let's get into it. I unfortunately have been through a lot of situations to where the attempt has been made, and thankfully, as you see, I'm still here. It didn't work out. I didn't know what to expect, but even though I didn't, and even though it didn't happen, thankfully, I still attempted. It's scary. It's like mentally you're not in your right mindset and you really just don't know what's happening. It is a long story and a long part of my journey, but my first actual attempt was a few years back. I was in college, just got my own place. I was in a relationship that was fine, but it went left. You know, two people dealing with a lot of things mentally. A few years before that, I had just got diagnosed with depression and it got really bad. Balancing school, everything was just coming down on me to a bad place. I was young, I thought I was in love, I see a future, but it wasn't what I thought it was. And I know a lot of people say, well, why didn't you just leave? You know, why didn't you just get out of that situation? I did. 3 times. I was being talked down on. It's just like mentally between that and school and just feeling alone because my friends were graduating. It was just a lot going on and I snapped. Having someone tell you you're worthless, you're never going to be anything, you're failing school, which I wasn't failing, but I wasn't doing good because I was just out of it. I wasn't invested as much as I should have been. And so literally I got to the point of where I was just done. I wasn't feeling good and he left me there. He was out with the boys hanging out and I'm like, yo, like, I'm not okay. I need you. And that just made me really feel like no one cared. You know, my brother lived in town. He was going to the same school, but I just really wanted to give up. I was done. Everything was just so crazy. Like I was missing school. I felt bad because I had a group project. That was a major project. My classmates are calling me, yo, where you at? You got a lot of the stuff that we need. And it was just so much pressure to the point of where all I remember is sitting in my car, taking out my phone, texting my brother and sister, I love you guys. I can't do this anymore. Like it was a cry for help that I didn't even realize. And next thing you know, I'm on social media and I'm writing these long messages talking about how I can't do this and the third. Next thing you know, my phone is blowing up and I freaked out. You know, I'm like raged. Like, why now? Y'all don't care about me. Y'all never did. Why do y'all care now? Oh, now that I'm willing to lose it all, y'all want to answer me? Don't talk to me. Like I was livid when all they wanted to do was really help me, not realizing that they didn't know. But in my mind, everybody knew what I was going through. Y'all know I'm depressed. Y'all know I have anxiety. Y'all know this stuff, but nobody knew it was to that extent because I kept to myself. Nobody knew what was going on in that relationship. Nobody knew what was going on. And I was just going in and ranting and raving. You know, my ex, he was just like not helping, talking down on me. And I'm like, I know you're drunk. I know what's going on. But in that moment, I felt like I didn't deserve to be here. I felt like nobody cared about me. Nobody wanted me around. Like now all of a sudden y'all want to be a part of this. Like all through my timeline, on my posts on Facebook, all I see is people messaging me, Ashley, where are you? Come home. This and the third. It was hard. It was hard to deal with because I'm like, what do? I don't want to be here. And it makes me sad to think about this, but I got to the point where I really just was over it. I'm like, you know what? They don't deserve to feel this way. All these years I put them through so much. Nobody deserves this. So not thinking about how this would play off, I'm on the highway driving fast. And then I got scared, but at the same time, I'm like, no, you can't punk out. You gotta do this. You don't deserve to be here. Nobody deserves you. And so I literally stopped in the middle of the road, cut my car off, and sat there and closed my eyes and say, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this anymore. But I don't remember, honestly, because I really like blacked out, what caused me to snap out of it. But thankfully, it was not much traffic. And thankfully, like, you know, of course, it's 2 lanes, so cars went around me. Who knows? Maybe they thought my car quit. Don't know. But something snapped me out to the point of where I drove to the nearest rest area and I sat there and cried. It was so crazy. Like I'm looking up stuff and I still have scars to this day on my arm. They're faded now, but like the ones that are down here, they're gone. But I'm like angry, but the pain, I don't like pain. And it somehow snapped me back. I go home with scars on my arm, with just, it's just bad. And finally, I just decided I gotta focus. I gotta get back right. And don't remember how I ended up back home. But I feel like I said, the fact that I don't like pain, I really didn't want to hurt myself. It was just all in my mind. Like, I just don't want to be here. And I just remember my brother and his girlfriend being there. I'm crying. They're like crying. And it was just like a lot. And so I'm on social media trying to like make up for things. But then at the same time, I'm so nonchalant about stuff, brushing people off. And I was just depressed. The next day, my brother and his girlfriend went on a date. They were like questioning, like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, yeah, I'll be fine, I guess. Just go. Don't worry about me. Like, I'm straight. Like, I'm good. But then next thing you know, back in the same mindset. I don't remember honestly what happened, but next thing you know, I hear banging on the door and it's my brother. He busts me in the bathroom and I'm in the tub full of water and I'm like fully dressed. And it's like, what is happening? Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? And so then next thing you know, during the course of the situation, I run into the closet, I push myself up against the door. My brother's trying to get in. I'm pushing stuff in front of the door. And all I remember from after that moment is my brother took a picture of me laying on the floor, soaking wet from being in the tub, fully dressed. And I'm laying on the floor, passed out from when I blacked out. I was traumatized. I literally like didn't go to class. I kept to myself. I didn't want to leave the house. Like, I was literally depressed because I didn't want to be here. But I felt so bad after what happened that I'm like, they want me here for some reason, so I'm just going to be here. But I'm going to be here in my space. But then finally got me out and it felt good to finally be out. But I felt bad because, you know, it was Easter Sunday. We would spend time with family. I'm like, I felt sheltered. I do remember things got a little bit better. I started going back to counseling. My teacher, which thank God for her, like, she saw that something was wrong. And one day after class, she was like, you haven't been here. Your grades aren't so well. I want to take you somewhere. And she took me to my counselor. And I walked in the door and there's like 3 other counselors. And I'm thinking, oh, they about to strap me up. They about to take me away. What the heck is going on? Like, I'm freaking out. I'm on the floor crying. Like, please don't take me away. Please don't take me away. And they're like, no, like, we just want to help you. And so I got back on medication and it got to a point to where I started getting back on track. That relationship was ended, was damaged at the same time. And throughout the course of the rest of the years up until now, there has been multiple attempts, but never to that extent of where it was that bad. Now, granted, there was one time it got crazy, but thankfully one of my friends, he was like close by. He was like, look,
do I need to come get you? What do I need to do?
And he talked to me the whole time and I drove to his house and I literally just fell and just cried because I was just like, what is happening to me? I ended up in the hospital while I was pregnant because I had some issues going on, and next thing you know, I'm like, they're gonna take my kid away. And granted, it was from anxiety, but anxiety and seeing the scars on my arm, even though they were old, it triggered the people at the hospital, especially with me being pregnant, to keep me there. And you know how like sometimes you watch a movie and it's just like, that don't happen in real life. You know, they're just making it up. No. Things like that happen. Now, granted, I was in no straitjacket or nothing, but it was like being in that room, white walls, and it was creepy. Like, I was like, I don't belong here. You know, I'm pregnant. It's like my baby first started moving around that time. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, I'm in a room with other people who were dealing with mental issues and, you know, like suicide and things like that. And I'm just like, what's happening? Why am I here? What's going on? Like, I'm freaking out, like crying for my mom not to leave me. My mom couldn't stay with me. They took my phone. It was just me, my baby in a gown. Why am I here? Like, what did you do? They're going to take my baby. They're going to take him away. But it's crazy because one of those nights, the nurse came in and she was just like, you don't belong here, do you? And I'm like, no. Like, I'm crying, I'm scared. And it's just like, how did I ended up here? And my next step was going to a mental facility, but they made a deal with me. Thank goodness for that, because it really helped a lot, because I was halfway through my pregnancy and I got to a point to where I'm like, hey, I got to change. Like, my daughter is really the biggest reason why I'm still here right now. But the fear of me harming her, not knowing what was going on, just really hurt me. Whew, I got chills. But ever since that moment, they gave me counseling and I met an amazing counselor who really got me through a lot. You know, I appreciate her so much, and my other counselor, but this one specific lady, she really helped me a lot through my pregnancy. Even after I had Taylor, like she came to my house and was like holding her for me while I cried. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want, she was like, no.
I want you here.
I say this because a lot of times people don't realize how serious it is. I love my family. I love my friends. I love everybody who supports me. But a lot of times there was things said that really pushed me to that point. And I want to say it here because not to throw anybody, but to just generally say like, this is what bothers me. But a lot of times I would leave. I don't know why driving was a thing for me, which to this day, I still sometimes drive around to kind of calm down. But when I'm at a certain point, it's not good because you never know what's going to happen. But, you know, hearing people say,
oh, she's gonna come back. She always comes back. She never goes through with it.
Oh, I was just giving you space. I figured you'd be all right.
that hurt. And I get it. You know, everybody expresses their care in different ways. Everybody didn't understand how deep and how serious it was. But it just really hurt when you really needed somebody and you hear those things. Literally letting me go after knowing what I just went through, after knowing all my attempts. The fact that it's like, oh,
well, if she's afraid to hurt herself, so she's not gonna do it.
No, it was a cry for help because I didn't know how to verbally say I need help. And recently, I will admit, is the first time that I've actually said it in a while, like I need help. And not because of suicide, but because literally I don't want to go back to that place. That is a not so fully detailed version of my story because I know that it's a lot and I don't want to give out the wrong perspective because of course, you know, my goal is to help others. My goal is to bring awareness and the importance of being there for your loved ones, knowing the signs. You know, if someone is acting out of the ordinary, out of, you know, a manner that they normally don't act, if you see scars, if you see anything that's out of the ordinary, check on your loved ones. Be there for your loved ones. If someone cries for help, don't take it as,
oh, they just want attention.
because you never know that they just want attention might be their face on an obituary, might be their face in a hospital, and you're crying because you wish that you took that moment to try to help. That's why I do this. That's why I spread this awareness. That's why I give you guys my personal FAD journey, because the amount of people that told me that my story helped them really brings me up. You guys have really been a huge part of this journey for me, and I really want to not see or hear anybody go through something only because I kept my mouth shut and someone could have possibly relate and be like, wow, like
That's how I feel. That's what happened to me. Like, oh man, it's not just me.
even when you know it's not just you. Like I felt like that all the time. I'm like, it's not just me. And you know, I hear that a lot. It's like,
You know, you're not the only one that goes through this. There's people that's going through this worse.
I know. But see, everybody's story, everybody's traumas, everybody's attempts are totally different and harm in a different way. Because who knows, if I was to not snap back, I wouldn't be here. It took me crying for help in a manner that I didn't want to, but I felt like I had to. I wanted to start fresh. And going back and watching those messages recently, I'm like, wow, I was really depressed. I want to help someone else. You know, I'm not a doctor. This is personal experience, personal advice from what I've been through and what others have told me. But at the same time, suicide is real. Depression is real. Anxiety is real. Anything that you could think of dealing with a mental illness is real. And of course, the seriousness is coming out more, but I still feel like a lot of people just don't understand how serious it is until it's too late. So with that being said, if this video brought insight, this video really opened your eyes to so much more when it comes to suicide awareness, make sure you hit like, make sure you share, and definitely make sure you subscribe to my channel and follow my FAD pages for more, as I hope to continue to use my story to bring awareness and bring more insight to why it's so important to take care of your mental health and to show your loved ones some love when it comes to theirs as well. It gets tasking, it gets hard, but at the end of the day, just keep on keeping on. You got this. If no one told you today or ever, I believe in you. Much love to you guys and see you in the next video.